Morning, boys. It is quite literally 5 in the morning, if you can't see there. And we've been up for about an hour or so. We're gonna go to the gym directly after filming this video, but I told myself I was gonna come on here and film this morning before the gym, and I'm not gonna put that shit off. So I'm here filming, even though I didn't want to be. But I wanted to talk about something today because I feel like I've had a lot of people in my personal life go through like breakups or go through shitty situations like this, and I made a video on it before, but I realized I wasn't passionate, right? I was kind of just going through the motions, and that's not what I want to deliver to you guys. So I want to take you way back in time to a story about younger Brandon, right? Because for those of you who know me, you know that I live a pretty good routine right now. I really try to be better every single day, and that's what I strive for, but I wasn't always like this. I used to not really have a purpose, and this kind of all started whenever I was younger, right? Because I wasn't going to the gym. I didn't really feel good about myself. And then when I first started going to the gym and I had built like a decent body, I had built some confidence, I got into my first relationship. And that relationship was like sophomore year of fucking high school. But I remember just like once I got in the relationship, I felt super comfortable, right? I just felt like everything was completely fine in my life, and I just felt like everything was all like, just swell, because I had a girlfriend. I'd never fucking talked to girls in my life, and so I thought this was like the coolest shit ever. And then that relationship slowly started to develop and go bad, and when it got to the point where the relationship was over, all I was doing was, one, sitting there fighting for her, and two, once it finally actually ended, I was a fucking piece of shit, right? I would go out like every single night. Like I would literally drink 3 to 4 nights a week, and I would, any chance that I got, like, dude, I had like 50 girls on Snapchat. I would just sit there and text like every single girl on my phone all day because I was so fucking desperate for some sort of validation. I was so fucking desperate for some type of just like some girl to fucking talk to me. And this went on for so long because I was quite literally just filling a void, right? And that's what I see in a lot of people. I've seen this in close friends of mine. I've seen this in like genuinely so many people that go through a breakup. Is the first thing you try to do is you fill the fucking void. Why? Why are you filling the void? You're not going to heal if you fill the fucking void. And I was doing this for so long. I was filling it with drinking. I was filling it with smoking. I was filling it with other girls. And this pulled me deeper into a depressive state. And I didn't realize that because once I tried to eliminate those vices, once I moved away from those vices now, I felt like fucking shit. I genuinely felt so terrible about myself because the only thing that was keeping me happy and the only thing that was making me sane was the fact that I had vices to fall back on. You feel like shit. Oh, I could just hook up with this girl. I feel depressed. Oh, I could just smoke. Oh, I feel sad. Oh, I'm just going to go to the bar and then take home a random girl. And that's just not the point. That's not the fucking point, because you're never going to truly develop. And I didn't realize that I wasn't developing myself, right? I didn't realize I was setting myself up for a worse outcome in the future. And that worse outcome came when I got into my next relationship. Now, this is the most recent relationship that I was in. And I just remember like the whole relationship, I was like so happy, so comfortable, whatever. But during the relationship too, remember, I got extremely comfortable. I literally just like the last 7 or 8 months of the relationship, I was just going out still multiple times just while I had a girlfriend because I was comfortable, right? I didn't have any reason to progress. I kind of thought that my whole life was figured out because I had this girl and that was all I needed, right? I was just like, all right, well, I have a nice girlfriend. I really like her. Everything's great in my life, so I'm just gonna roll with that and I'll be chilling, right? Wrong. If you can't tell, wrong. So as that relationship progressed on, right, I finally kind of realized that I wasn't doing anything for myself. I realized that there was nothing in my life that I was doing for me, and it genuinely made me like start to fucking like have like a midlife fucking crisis at 20 years old, because I was just like, dude, like, what am I living for? What am I doing? And because of that, I realized that I wanted to pursue something more, and that thing that was more for me was a bodybuilding show. Now, I'm not saying a bodybuilding show is like the ultimate measure of self-development, because it's not, but it is fucking hard. And me signing myself up for that was my first step to get out of that comfortable state, to do something more with my life. And that is what took the biggest toll on my relationship, because I was trying to be something more, and she was used to somebody who was complacent and comfortable and wasn't striving for anything. I didn't realize that at the time. I just thought, oh, like I'm on bodybuilding prep, like my life's a little more stressful. I can't go out to the bar, I can't go out and eat a bunch of shitty food, so it's just gonna like make dates harder and stuff like that. But I didn't realize that the reason that my relationship was failing was because I was now a different person. Even though I didn't realize it at the time, I was slowly starting to progress out of that state and slowly starting to become a better version of myself. And so my tire pressure is low. That's fucking awesome. So what I really noticed, right, was as soon as that relationship started to like continue to get worse, right? As soon as that relationship kind of like went on the downward spiral, I just started to feel so fucking like just confused with who I was, right? Because I was like, oh, I'm trying to be better. I'm being this better person. Why is my relationship failing? Why is it not working? And this went on for so fucking long of just like a few months on end of just wondering why it wasn't working. And then finally, one day, she broke up with me. And when she broke up with me, I didn't know what to do, right? Last time this had happened, all I did was fall into these vices, but I was on bodybuilding prep, so I couldn't even cave into the vices, otherwise I'd sell the show. I couldn't even go out and drink, because otherwise I would sell the show. I couldn't even just like fucking hook up with these random girls because I had no energy and I had no, like, I literally couldn't because my test was so fucking low because I was on bodybuilding prep. And I didn't know what the fuck I was supposed to do. I was so just like, so scared, I guess, scared of what I could do because I didn't have any vices to fall back on. I had been setting myself up for failure my entire life. And I just remember so vividly. We were still texting like a couple weeks after we broke up. And I remember one of my friends showed me this photo of her that like one of his friends had posted. And it was her with another dude. And when I saw that photo, I remember how fucking repulsive it felt to me. How sick to my fucking stomach I was. And that right there, that was whenever I realized I didn't like anything about myself. I realized that I had to make a change. And that change wasn't chasing artificial vices anymore. Because we've talked about this, guys. I was chasing those vices every single time something happened in my life. And because of that, all I was doing was falling back onto them. I didn't have those vices anymore, so I had no fucking choice but to develop. And develop is what I did, and develop is what I recommend each of you do. Because even though I felt like shit, even though I might not have been motivated, and most days I'm literally never fucking motivated, I got up, and I got up with a fucking purpose. And that purpose was to be better. That purpose was to do that for me, and not for somebody else. Because I had been living for somebody else, and with somebody else's validation my entire fucking life. I had spent literally 5 years back-to-back in relationships, and I had not been living for myself. And if you're somebody watching this who's probably just getting out of a relationship or probably still struggling with a breakup, you need to understand that you were not living for yourself, and that is why you feel depressed. You were not living for you, and now you need to start living for you because that is the sole reason you were depressed. You need to find that purpose. And for me, the way that I found that purpose was developing something I could be proud of. Developing a routine that I could be proud of. I started waking up earlier and earlier. I started to feel better and better because of that. And although it was hard some days, although it wasn't easy some days, I fell back onto myself and I relied on myself and realized that I was my own fucking hero. I realized that I deserved to be happy, and that happiness was only going to come from within. It wasn't going to come from vices. And so yes, the healing process takes longer when you do that. The healing process takes longer whenever you don't fall back onto the vices, but when you don't fall back onto the vices, you actually change. Because when you resort to drinking, you resort to hookups, you resort to all these artificial like hits of dopamine after a breakup, you're not really healing. You're not really making a fucking change. All you're doing is distracting yourself. And you don't need to be distracted. You need to feel all of those feelings. You need to feel everything that you are feeling right now and let it fucking pass. And that's what I did. I absorbed all those feelings. There were nights where I was crying myself to sleep. There were nights where I genuinely just felt so fucking depressed. But I kept going, and I didn't fall back into the vices because I was finally doing something for me. I was doing something without trying to distract myself. I was doing something without trying to put on a fucking mask, right? It's okay that you feel like shit. It's okay to not feel good. It's okay to not be motivated. It's okay that you're not in a good state right now. But what's not okay is if you use that as an excuse to fall back into vices and use that as an excuse to never fucking develop yourself. Because you are fully deserving of being a developed young man. You are fully deserving of being a better person. So go be that fucking better person. Go be it. Genuinely, why will you not go be that person? Because you've fallen back on devices your entire life, and now you feel like you're so lost, you feel like you don't know where to go. Go to the fucking gym. wake up early and get your ass to the fucking gym, because I still do that every single day, and that is my peace. That is my fucking purpose. And that, I'm not just saying, oh, you have to go to the gym at 5 a.m. That's the only way you're gonna fucking develop. No, I'm saying develop a routine that you're fucking proud of. Develop habits that make you a better man, right? The reason you're depressed after a relationship is because all you do is fall back into vices. And those vices don't just have to be drinking and girls. You might just be laying in your bed scrolling on your phone all day. Because I used to do that too. I used to just resort to artificial dopamine like that, and that's not the fucking answer. The answer is developing yourself for you. Waking up early, journaling what you're happy about, things that you can be proud of. You literally need to just continue to reward yourself in a sense. Continue to give yourself praise, because you deserve that praise for going through some shit like you're going through right now. You deserve that praise for dealing with all of this and dealing with it to the best of your abilities. You don't deserve praise if you just sit there and fucking smoke after a breakup because it's going to make you feel better. You don't deserve that praise if you're just going to lay around and feel sorry for yourself. Your life is worth fucking living. Your life is worth living. So why would you sit around and feel sorry for yourself? After that first relationship, right? I didn't progress at all. I didn't have anything going for me because I was just falling back into vices. After the second relationship, I developed my body more than I ever had. I started waking up earlier. I started to find a fucking purpose. I found a new circle of friends, good friends that genuinely supported me and cared about my future. I started a successful business, and now I'm able to help dozens and dozens of other men get their dream bodies, just like you see me talk about on here all the fucking time. I found my purpose, and I only found that purpose because I didn't fall back into fucking vices. All you do is fall back into vices. And if you continue down that cycle, it's going to be over and over and over again. You're going to find another girl, she's going to leave you, and then you're going to fall back into the hookups, into the meaningless drugs, into all of that shit. And then you're going to find another girl, and it's just going to repeat. Break the fucking cycle, because you are deserving of happiness, and you are deserving a routine and a life that fulfills you without you just getting artificial dopamine. You are deserving of the life that you want to live. So if you're somebody who's maybe recently out of a relationship, you need to understand that this is the best possible time to develop your life as a person. My recent breakup, like the one that was like a year ago or whatever, completely changed who I was and made me 100 times better as a man. But my first breakup turned me into a sack of shit. A sad sack of shit where I had nothing going for me. So you have two paths. You can keep falling into the vices and keep telling yourself that it's okay, that that's your way of fucking coping for something, but I promise you, you're not going to develop. And that being said, you can also find that new routine, find that new version of you, develop your body, start going to the gym, develop your mind, start waking up early, and I promise you, 6 months might pass, a year might pass, and one day, you're going to wake up and realize that you haven't thought about her in months. You're going to realize that you have not thought about that person for months and that you genuinely love yourself. And when that moment hits, it's going to be the most euphoric, incredible feeling ever. It'll feel better than any drug. It'll feel better than any hookup, because you finally realize for the first time in your life that you have developed and you have become the man of your dreams, and you did it for you. So do it for yourself and go fucking become that person, because you have one dumbass kid in his car who fucking believes in you. Alright? I love you guys. I hope this one was helpful. And as always, I will see you in tomorrow's talk.